I'll call our meeting order at this time. We welcome all in attendance. Our invocation this evening be given by Commissioner Edwards, and pledge of allegiance be led by Mr. Carol Weaver. She would rise.
Shall we pray? Father, again, we're just so thankful that you spared our lives, Lord, to gather here. We pray that you would be with us, give us wisdom, knowledge, and insight, Lord, for the preparation of this budget. Lord, we pray that all that we do and say will be in accordance with your will and for the benefit of the citizens of Athens County. Lord, we thank you for the showers of rain you have sent. We pray that you would continue to bless us and send more. Lord, to pray that you would rain upon the dry spot in the county next. Lord, we love you. We praise you. Thank you for all that you do, but most of all for your precious Son, Jesus. And it's in his name we ask these things. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is adoption of agenda. This is our first budget workshop of the year. Your motion on this agenda. With no change.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Commissioner Kent with the motion, here second.
Second.
Commissioner Barnes with the second, all in favor. Agenda is approved as is. Next item, new business, 2027 county budget workshop. County manager.
Sir, so as we discussed and said, this budget workshop, I've got in front of you a working template. This was not a draft budget. This is just a template that we send out to department heads, comes back to us, and then we start from there. I wanted to go through, I know Commissioner Kent mentioned we don't have time to go through all of them, and I know we won't, so I kind of want to start at the biggest ones and work our way backwards and hit some highlight points. So if y'all are ready, we will begin. And I did promise Mr. Timmy he would be the first one up with recreation, because we have some capital projects that I want to discuss. That way we have some direction to know how we're going to proceed with the budget. So if you have any questions, Timmy, I know you're prepared to talk about them. So if y'all turn to page 30. This is the recreation budget. You'll see us at 1572. Last year it was 1324. Something that was in there that didn't get put in there last year was the concession expense. I believe that account is holding its own pretty well. We do really good in concessions, according to what Mr. Timmy says. I do believe there's about between $200,000 and $300,000 in that account, and so that's why it is put in here. But that is something we can take out if we want to purchase the concessions out of that account. We just did discuss that last year. There's two capital projects that is not included in this budget that is needed immensely. I mean, it's a need at this point. One of them is the lighting. We cannot get any of the parts for our lights. And the second part is fencing. We have talked about reducing the size of our fence while we're going to repair it, because there's a lot of damage to our fences, and shrinking those fields down to 220. Is that right, Timmy? 4 of those fields. Still have one, the big one, I think that's number 5. Field 3, which is 300. But then most of the activity that goes on out there, as most of you know, is youth activities. So if we do a fencing project, it would be to reduce down those fields, and hopefully that would create more room to practice it, while they're warming up in the outfields, things like that they don't now. They line the sidewalks and they try to find an area to warm up. So we do have temporary fence up at 200 when we play youth, but it's not permanent. I believe the total for both of those projects is about between $600,000 and $700,000 based on some of the quotes that we received in. Is that right? Anything you would like to add about the projects or the budget?
Well, the project, like you said, is in need. The lights, we spent $10,000 on the lights last year and repaired half of them. we had like 86 lights out, was able to get 30 of them back north. We just can't get parts anymore. They're obsolete. And if y'all recall, both of these projects, some of y'all, your commission, I have asked for these projects in the past and always said, put it in the budget, put it in the budget. And if we'd approved them 2 years ago when I asked, we'd save $200,000. So moving forward, this price ain't coming down. And we to a point whether we don't play ball out there at night or we fix the lights. And the price just keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
Timmy, how old was the lights out there?
28 years.
28 years? None of them are LED or anything. They're all the old style.
Those are actual projects that we would like to kick off as soon as possible, but they're not going to be realized until the new budget cycle is here, because of consulting, engineering, I mean, reducing those fields down, getting them laid out, a lot of that stuff. We want to get some professionals and their opinions of it.
Would it require moving any of the lights, reducing the fields, so you could work on the lights without the fields being done? Is that the biggest?
We won't move the poles. That would just be another $500,000.
Sure. Okay.
And, yeah, we wouldn't move the poles.
We'll talk about something that me and Timmy had recently talked about, is how many travel ball teams we had that utilizes it during the week to practice on. 14, I think is what you told me. And that's just during the week, usually 2 days a week per team. So it's highly utilized. How much adult softball is still a thing, but how much is it utilized, you think?
We play about 1 night, 2 nights a week.
And how often is the complex rented on the weekends for travel ball, youth travel ball?
52 weeks, probably 45.
And you saying to update the lights and the fencing project is between 600 and 700?
Between 600 and 700 estimated to do the fencing and the lights. Like I said, I did not include that in the budget. I kind of wanted to, let's talk about the projects, judge the needs, and see if y'all want to proceed to try to get it in here. So I'll know how to draft the recreation budget.
You said there's approximately how much in the concession fund?
Between 200 and 300,000.
That's what I was thinking, if we could take part of that concession fund, all but a certain amount, and put into that and then add the rest to it. You know, because it's, like you said, stuff's not getting cheaper. And I think if we use some of the concession and then add to it, that would be something that should be fixes for several years. And when we fix the fence and the lights, we shouldn't have to deal with that for a good while.
It's a 30-year fix.
Right.
What about SPLOST resources? Any of that available for it?
Not for the complex. I don't think there was any SPLOST allocated for the complex. Only thing recreation-wise was North Side Park. Is that right? Did I speak right? Commissioner Barton, you said utilize some of the concession money to offset some of the cost and try to fill the gap with the rest of the project.
Right. Okay. That's what I'd suggest. And I notice concession expense in here, which is about covered. Shows 60,000, but if we got that out of the that fund instead of this fund, would that work, Timmy? Like if we put it, when we bought stuff, buy it out of concession and instead of having it in here, or not? Or that would,
that's where it's at now, we could do that. You know, we've been told by the auditors that, you know, a good way to do that is move the money into the general fund as it comes in, or after, at the end of the year, however we want to do it, when they come in and adjust it, and then expense it with buying what you see here,
Right.
concession stuff. So
Right,
that would offset
yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
So the proposed budget here does not reflect
Those
that.
two projects, no, sir.
So we're talking about the recreation budget to exceed 2 million.
Yes, sir. It would with those two projects.
Wow.
But those are capital projects and not an every year expense.
I see there's $100,000 in capital items. Are those for other things, other needs that we have?
We did have other needs. You want to list those? I didn't give them all the pamphlet, but mowers, that was one of them. I got that list
Okay.
in my office. There were a few items on there as far as equipment.
What's the salaries, others, PT and seasonal? I noticed there's nothing showing there last year, but we spent 114, but we're showing 100,000. What is that?
Part-time and
Yeah,
seasonal.
Okay,
yeah. Part-time and seasonal.
all right.
That catches on your, any event workers, your concessions, all the lifeguards,
Okay, that's what I was,
chain holders, I mean, just anybody who,
Umpires.
yeah, they don't catch the umpires.
Okay.
Especially lifeguards.
How many participated in the swim this year? Swim?
And then
Mm,
we have about 75.
yeah.
The youth contract labor and the adult contract labor. What exactly does that cover?
Which items do you want?
The
It's about in the middle of the page.
six.
Okay, I see it right here now. The one that's 22,000 expensed and 11,152. Does that sound right?
27.6.
Yeah.
Youth is 27,000, and adult is 6,000.
That's the line we charge some of the officials.
The umpires that we were just talking about.
So that's not kids doing contract labor. That's the labor for the kids' games, right? Yeah.
Adult, yeah,
You got
adult
that,
games,
JJ?
youth games.
There's one thing you have to remember. The more that line we pay on that line, the more money we're making because we're hosting districts, we're hosting the state. And it's kind of one of them lines, if we bust that line, we're probably making $2 or $3 for every dollar we bust that line. If that makes any sense. It's like the concession line. I make $2 for every dollar I spend, so if I spend $100,000, we're gonna turn in $200,000.
Yeah.
So it's actually a line that you would hope I would bust.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our budget just shows expense and not income.
Yeah, we haven't set revenue. I wanted to get the guidance for the draft before we go into revenue, what we're gonna realize, because looking previously, I mean, we're gonna be, I met with Lacey and Myrna yesterday and this week, and our revenues are gonna be about a $500,000 deficit, so to speak. And a lot of that's the House bill stuff that we're realizing. I mean, the city was, on their inflated growth, was in the negative. Now, we didn't have a negative on inflation growth, but that was the appeals, and the House bill combined, and we're starting to see that roll into this year.
What's the roundabout revenue that the recreation brings in though?
Roundabout, I don't want to speak to that without telling you, I don't want to tell you wrong, because it's all the fees are broken out separately. So I can break it out into the youth fees. I mean, it's all broken out separately. And that will be at our next, hopefully in 2 weeks, if we set that in the next meeting. That'll be the workshop where we have the draft ready.
I'd like to ask a question that really has nothing, just in general, nothing to do with Parks, Recreation, anything, but I noticed on several of them, that, like last year's budget, and some of them has done exceeded their budget.
And some of that will change when the auditors come in, and that's what next week, after this is over, me and LaFawn will sit down and see what's classified where, because when they come in, they also submit us pages of journal entries where something needs to be classified under a different item. Move stuff around.
Yeah, but how's it handled when a department starts exceeding their budget? I know if I was in a business, I started exceeding my budget.
Well, it's like electricity. If we still have to pay the power bill, if they exceeded that line item, so that's how. I mean, we still have to operate, and we come through and we amend the budget at the end of the year.
Reed, what falls upon this capital item on the paper?
That's what we were talking about, with the purchase of the mowers and some equipment out at the complex. Any other questions on recreation?
You think the electricity usage would decrease if we went over to LED lights?
Probably cut it in half.
Cut it in half? Okay.
You're going from a 1,500 watt bulb to 300 watt LED.
So that's some savings there that could be built back into here. In the future.
What do you, I mean, I'd like to see what it looks like with, I feel like we need to upgrade the lights and the fencing and get things right. I'm not the type of person, I don't like to put stuff off. Stuff need to be fixed, it's gotta be fixed. Stuff's not getting cheaper. I know when I changed just my light bulbs in my house, it made a difference, but, so it's gonna make a difference out there. We keep putting it off, we just gonna keep, everything's gonna keep going up. I feel like we've done pretty good the last year or two. The money we brought in from the hurricanes and stuff like that, we should be sitting a lot better than we were.
I know I have heard from the citizens about the fences and how they're jagged and could cause injuries.
And that's a busy place. That's a lot of people coming from out of town, which I have to go by there going home, so I know how busy it is on the weekends and how much that ball field brings into this community. If they rent motels or whatever, staying at, because they there every weekend, seems like. So
we'll take it and build it into, the budget and see what, also me and Timmy will sit down and see what else that, even on that capital list that we, I ain't gonna say push off, but something that was, that we might can move and see if we can trim it down and then give you the bottom.
Yeah, because some of these on here, like youth contract labor, you know, to show we spent 22, but it's showing 40 on there. Even if we put 30, you know, I mean, we could trim some of these other ones to make up a little difference, but a budget in the end, yeah, you don't want to go over a budget, but you're not going to always be able to stay with a budget either. A budget's a guide, but we want to be as close to that guide as we can get. That's the thing.
All right, within the next two, I'll work on that and talk about the concessions and put it in there and move it around. Any other questions on recreation? All right, let's go to page 22.
22?
22, yes, sir. Mr. Carroll, one. You'll see, last year at the budget, it was 6 million, and the proposed is 6,644,675. Now, in this, we do include $1.4 million is the MIG money that we get from the state. We just expense the project in here.
Say that again, Reed.
So that LMIG money, the paving roads, you'll see it under the paving the streets and striping. Let me see that. The road contract be 1402 line number. That's where we expense our LMIG that we take in from the DOT. And then one, the increase you'll see is in the equipment purchases.
I'm just looking at that. What we getting?
Sir,
What are we purchasing?
you want to tell them I was going back and what we're,
We have 2 ditchers and 1 motor grader that's on rotation. Those 3 we replaced. And I put in the 309 that we cut our highways with. That machine is over 5 years old and it's starting to give us a lot of problems. And that motor did everything in it just wore out, breaking down more than we're running. So I want to get that replaced. And also we have a John Deere loader that is a 2009 model and it's got over 18,000 hours on it. So it's starting to give us a whole lot of problems. So those are two separate things there that I wanted to add this year, not counting the motor grader that's on the 5 year.
last year we pulled 500,000 out of TIA to help with some of those equipment purchases. And that is an option to use that TIA money, is to offset some of the expended.
How much do we have in the discretionary fund for TIA?
To date, I don't know. That's mine and LaFonda's deal next week when I draft y'all the budgets to see
Okay.
how much I can offer y'all to expense. Because we did use about 520 last year, I think. I think that's right. Yeah. But I want you to see what, without the TIA money, what that would do to the budget and what that looks like.
So with that TIA money, if we can do what we done last year, it would pretty much stay the same.
Pretty much, pretty close, yes, sir.
Carol, looks like you're planning on the war to get over and fuel prices to come down. Budget same as last year, and we're already over budget, so.
And a lot of this was, like you were saying, Commissioner Barnes, when all the storm stuff, like a lot of the expenditures that the road department had was a big part of some of the money we got back.
So most of your increase in budget's really this equipment you need purchasing. The largest part of your, just about all your budget increase has to do with purchasing equipment.
Any other questions? So moving forward with this, what I'm gonna do is take into account the TIA money, or the discretionary money, and then see how much that offsets the budget. That, agree with the direction?
Yes.
Anything you'd like to add, sir? All right, no more questions on that one. Let's go to the sheriff's. Let's go to page 14. And the biggest increase you see here will be on the payroll. They were asking for 10% increases. So that budget, the budget last year was 3.810888. This year proposed is 4.220386.
I don't think pay increases should be kept in relationship or with the rest of the employees, 10%, so.
This is my thoughts on, I like to treat everybody equal. And if I got county employees, I think they're all equal. I don't think one should get a bigger raise than another one gets. With that being said, sometimes you have to work on your budget. If you want more money, take it out of your budget, work things out where you can get a little bit more out of it. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying, but I don't like the idea of not being fair, so.
Do what?
I said, I don't like the idea of not being equally fair to all
Across the
employees.
county.
You know, if I got a budget, maybe I need to work on my budget. If I want to give people raises, maybe I need to cut out in certain areas to put more money in my payroll out of that budget.
Well, you still got, aren't those employees the same merit employees as the rest of the county?
They are county paid employees, yes, sir.
That's right. And having said that, then it should be maintained within that. Of course, quite sure the road department would like a 10%. And
I think that's what we've done in the past, is just decided what we were going to do countywide as far as salary increases, and then that goes across to all departments.
Agree.
So we'll have to decide what we're going to do for salary increases countywide.
Just for my part, 10% is DOA. It's got to be in step with the rest of this county.
It looks like everything else stayed fairly the same. There's little increases here and there, but for the most part, it's the same, except for that part.
What's the insurance, property at Cedra? What's,
Probably vehicles and stuff.
okay,
That's
so,
pretty high.
Yeah.
yeah, because it was 45 last year and then went to 100 this year.
And it's how it's broken out over there after when we pay it out in each department. So that's what I was saying, some of that it'll be adjusted by the auditors when they come. There's this fair portion here, this fair portion, our portion for up here. Same with workers' comp.
We actually get a breakdown of the calculations by type of vehicle and type of,
Property.
yeah. The others don't do that.
No, they just move it where the other stuff where it needs to go.
Like, drug enforcement project, what is that? Because we've not had it, we didn't have it last time budgeted. Don't look like we spent any money on it, but there's $10,000 saying they need $10,000 for it.
That's in the drug operations,
Yeah,
one right below the program.
yeah, drug operations.
That was for the drug investigation side, is what he was wanting to expense that on. It was budgeted in 24 and 25 also, but never utilized.
Get your direction you needed out of that.
That's it. Any other questions on the sheriff?
Is the jail the same way?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Across all three of the next ones we're going to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we'll go to jail, which is the next page. 2026, it was 2.686890. Proposed is 2.931177. And the same as you'll see is what was submitted.
So is he figuring that 10% in on jail too?
Yes, sir. Same rule apply. So show me my direction moving forward. On the next two, I'm gonna do the same. It's exactly how y'all stated it.
Okay.
For medical and feed,
That's what, the medical was, 26 was budget 360. We spent 311, but we're budgeting 396 for 27.
Let me catch up to you, sir.
1204
Is this through June?
Possibly.
July, August, so we got
Okay, yeah,
3 more months. in.
Okay, there it is at the top.
So this is.
That's right.
This is 3/4 of it, actually.
okay.
So yeah, it'll be 400 by the end of the year.
We were at 360 last year, we're at 311 currently, and we got
That makes sense
2
now.
more months.
But it's proposing go up another 36,000.
Yes, sir.
And health insurance went up.
Yeah, look at the actual.
One number I have that I have questioned, and that's going to be a question for myself and them, is the feeding of the inmates, that number. Even at the number that was submitted, we're already exceeded that. And so, and what I'm getting at is that number needs to be brought up to to 250,000, and rather than, and be actual, we're going to expense 250.
But don't we get housing, if we're housing another county, we get so much per day for that?
We do. So unless y'all have another question, that's gonna be the takeaway, is the same as the 10%. And then that other item I mentioned to y'all about the inmates. Unless y'all have another question.
Well, like some of these, like work comp, it's 35,000. We spent 16,000 or something, and they left it at 35. Could that come down some? We got equipment purchases, 7,000. We didn't spend but 645. It's 7,000 again. I would think that could come down some. Just little things, tweaks like that, going up and down is gonna make a big difference, I think.
Well, the workers, and I agree with you, and the workers' comp, I don't think it'll be able to go down, because I think when, and Ms. Robin can correct me on this,
They paid at the end or
it's
something.
paid, broken out in two different things, because they don't renew at the same time we renew our budget year either.
It's based on salary too, for the number of positions.
That's what I was used to say, that there's no saying rise and tide floats all boats. If you start pushing salaries up to like 10%, then workers' comp, everything else, taxes, everything else, the 10% is just the baseline of the increase of cost.
All right, if y'all are ready, we'll move to 911, through page 20. $2026 was 963,196. Proposed is 1,008,946.
So we're not paid any overtime?
It's lumped into, so when it's separated out, we broke it out on the budget, but when it's paid over here, it's lumped into the total number up top. So under payroll, it got realized there, it's not broken out.
All right.
We'll get back to the cost of labor. Now, this budget does not reflect any cost of living increases, does it? So these numbers in that department's gonna rise.
On theirs, it does. On most of these, they do. Even our admin, we did. So but I only did what was historical at 3%. These three budgets are.
They reflect that?
At 3% plus the additional 7 that he was asking, he was requesting. Yes, sir. To answer your question, yes, sir.
Good.
If you decide to go with a 3% cost of living.
Right. Yeah, I just want to see the numbers.
Yeah, no, you're.
I was trying to run them around my head if you.
No, they are realized,
Okay.
but then that's y'all's decision.
Okay.
Any other questions on 911?
Database fees, looks like they're significantly lower in '26. Are we gonna make a big payment in the next month or two? I thought we changed some programming and some things a few years ago to help us reduce the database charges.
A few years ago, meaning,
I can't,
like,
3, 4 maybe.
okay.
Anyway, I was just looking at that number, it looks a little out of shape.
With it being 44,000 and we budgeted 70,
Yeah, unless there's another payment that we're gonna make in the next 2 months.
you highlight that one.
Just might ask about
All
that.
right.
What happened to the actual numbers on 2024 and 2025?
That was something on the spreadsheet that when we were running it. Because if that be the case, it's $7.28. Ready to move to the next one? Let's go to 17, fire. This one, the proposed is just based on what last year was. There's something that, some of the discussion that needs to be around this and give some direction is, we've had, and Chief can back me up on this, we've had a lot of repairs recently and then this year. We've had a lot of equipment go down, we still got a truck down. We need some direction on the purchase of trucks. So this one, you know, and I've heard, and I would support this, is the money that we allocate out to the departments is not always, right, with the cost of everything going up, is not covering what it needs to cover. But now, you back me up, we had that discussion the other day. What is your thought, Lance?
$2,000 a quarter per station. I take a station that's got 3 or 4 trucks, full fuel prices has went up. Upkeep on the trucks that we do ourselves comes out of that budget, so you're looking at $8,000 a year. And then we pay all the station light bills, supplies, those type of things that we can afford to come out. Don't leave us very much at the end. And there was a rule, I don't know if it's written down anywhere or not, because this was a long time ago, that if we have a repair on a piece of equipment and it's more than $500, we turn it into the county. Because it's just not feasible for us to even try to pay a bill. And if we're on a scene now and a fire truck tears up, you're looking at from the fire scene to wherever to be repaired, you're looking at a $200 or $300 bill just for a tow bill. that's the things that we're facing. And just to let y'all know, what we call our new truck is 23 years old. That's our new truck. And they don't have a lot of miles on them, but they're 23 years old, and they've been used for 23 years, and stuff just wears out. And we're going to have to, I feel like, as a county, start looking at doing something about replacing some of these trucks or getting some better equipment, because one of our new trucks right now is over in Santa Claus at Stevens, getting repaired because it's got water in the oil and shavings, also metal shavings in the oil. So I don't know the outcome of that yet. But that's just the thing that we face on the minimum budget of $8,000 a year.
I have heard from some, the 2,000, it was 1,000, then it went to 1,500, now it's 2,000 over years, but now at the end of the quarter, there's nothing left for them.
Especially depending, and it all depends on how busy we are. This year, we've been exceptionally busy with fires, as y'all know, and the more we use equipment, the more stuff can break. They sit there and we have a quote-unquote normal quarter, and not a lot happens, and it's feasible. When we answering 40 or 50 calls a month per station, and that adds up.
I think if we get back with, this is not budgeted, but the AFG offsets a lot if we can start applying for it. I know we've got it in the past, 300 and 500, I think.
How much is that was?
AFG grant.
One of the things that will come out of this budget, you'll see it's a 3001, which is the EMA fire protection. So there is we've separated out rescue. This is where they were paid out of. So that will come out of this budget, but it will be realized in our budget. So that money is still going to be there, just not on the fire side.
Reed, what falls upon the machinery and equipment and other equipment?
Let's see, how far down are you?
2,000.
What line item?
New line item 2,025.
The 2,000 will be machinery and equipment. That would be typically where we would purchase any of our fire equipment, if it was SCBA's, trucks, anything. But we hadn't, like you said, there's zero right now, because we hadn't purchased.
I thought we bought a truck. Did we buy a truck?
Come out of SPLOST.
Out of SPLOST? Okay.
And that's why you had seen a lot of that come out.
SPLOST aids us a lot, and we didn't quite get everything requested with SPLOST. Like a radio or a pager, these little pagers we tote on our sides that you see before the firemen, they're almost $500 a piece now. And, you know, one gets tore up or lost or whatever the case may be. I mean, you take a pager or quarter out, $2,000. I mean, that eats up a lot of your money. Radio is $700 or $800 a piece.
So we got 2 months left on this budget, is that right? So
This
it's
month in September, yep.
707,000, and they spent 537. That's pretty good for as busy as we've been this year. I mean,
Well, and you can look at the item that's under the fire protection and that's the payrolls that come out.
okay,
Payroll is probably significantly more.
yeah.
I mean, just county farm was 26.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where you at?
3,001.
Okay, gotcha right here.
County farm budgeted 15 and paid 26. That's
Oh, yeah.
And going off of like
But
the
we still-
payrolls, I mean,
It's still
we could
unfair.
budget 30,000, but then not have a bad fire year, and we're gonna be under greatly. So that's why we've held, and I've looked at the historical, why we held around that 15,000, because that's, some are higher, some are lower. It's a moving target. And if I go up, then you're gonna say, not, this budget will look high, but you don't know that we're even gonna realize that. Depends on the fire season.
Did y'all say y'all had some upgrades y'all needed, or is that what you?
We need to have a plan to budget some new fire equipment somehow, some way. Because now, let's say a truck now, let me tell y'all the process so everybody knows. If we buy a truck, we're just buying the chassis. We take the tank off the old truck, pump off the old truck, and set it on the newer chassis. But a newer chassis. And we still got old equipment, we put on a newer chassis. And when we're buying these $40,000 and $50,000 chassis trucks, some of them are high mileage, some of them got over 200,000 miles. And we don't put a lot of miles on them, but still wear and tear it goes along with 200,000 miles. So we're getting better, I guess. We're just getting by. We're buying something to replace something older that has got a lot of mileage on it. And we still got old equipment. We're just moving old equipment from one chassis to another.
Right, so in 2 months, if we come under budget, this is just what I'm thinking in my head. If we come under budget and there's something you as chief knows that we desperately need that we didn't spend in this budget, we should be able to do that, correct?
In theory, yes, sir.
Yes.
I will mind you, like if we bought a new fire truck, now you're looking at $400,000, a brand new fire truck.
And that's one, and then each department has got, it's the same amount of years on all the equipment. The way it's been done, it's not really staggered. I bought those trucks, was there 1 year break in between them? You were on,
Which ones, the new ones?
Yeah.
We bought 9 at one time. They were $81,000 at that time.
And they were Georgia Forestry deal. They
Yeah.
didn't come from Phelps or E1 or Phelps. Georgia Forestry deal. And that service has fallen to the wayside just because it takes so daggone long. I mean, we've got 5 new pumps in the county that's put on old forestry trucks that we bought for $2,000 a piece. But we got an $80,000 pump sitting on a $2,000 truck that we bought, that the forestry put together for us. And it's just, the stuff we've been just putting together is catching up with us.
What's the latest on the SCBA's that's fixing to go out of date,
Scott, the manufacturer, has decided that they're still going to make the 2,600 pound bottles. And because everybody complained, they was just saying, we're just going to quit making them, everybody's going to have to go to 4,500. Well, Scott is going to continue to make the bottles. So if we can still, which we have SPOS money to buy new bottles with. That's what we're going to continue to do.
because a new SCBA is what, $8,100?
$1,000.
now the time, I will say this, the fire suits, which we have been fortunate enough in years past with the SPOS for SCBA's, fire suits, things like that. But I would recommend we look at trying to plan out those bigger purchases with budget items, because of there's dates on those of what they're good.
You got 10 years on the fire suit and 10 years on the
SCBA.
SCBA. Another big ticket item.
I remember back when I was at Firelight, even then they were we had some equipment that was out of that date. I'm telling that from a liability standpoint. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
We are good because we've been fortunate enough to SPOS. We're all up to date with everything. Let's just say 1 year SPOS don't go through, then we,
Then it's coming out of Happy Bank.
That's why we really gotta promote our SPOS and educate people on election, because we don't have people showing up at elections. And if they don't show up, they don't vote. If we don't get our 1 cent or whatever, they don't understand. That's the fairest tax we can get. Everybody's having to pay it, and everybody's having to contribute. Everybody, if you have a fire, it don't matter who it is, they go into it. So when you get that 1 cent, they help and pay for that fire truck or that. And if we don't get it out there how it's getting to be, you won't have it if people don't vote for it.
So, moving forward, what I'm gonna do on the fire is, I'm gonna take the EMA fire, the rescue part of it, I'm gonna pull it out, create its own budget sheet. So that money will still hit that dollar amount you see there. But then look at it and work with Linton over the next 2 weeks, if he can spare me the time, and go through some of the quarterly money and look at some of the repairs we've hit with and make some adjustments and bring it back to y'all with the bottom dollar. Does that seem right?
Yes.
then, while we're on this, you might want to bring this up separate, our whole communications deal.
No, we can talk about, we hit it now too. I was gonna, thought about hitting under 911, but I was like, no, let's talk about it. We can do it now. So we've had several discussions, and the chairman's been involved too. Commissioner Kent, you've sat around some of it and you've been around it. It's not a new problem, but communications is a problem in Appleton County, and it's aging, and it's been aged. Even the people who work on it is that way. I remember Al, was it 2 weeks ago or last week, I went and put an air conditioning unit at the one that was at the gym.
Yes, sir. We had to replace quite a few components as well.
So our communication system is our system. We own it. It's ours to maintain. If something goes down, it's on us. But moving forward, we need to really start honing on what we want that to look like. Mike does most of our, and he, listen, at his age, and we call him, he comes. I think him and Al spend a lot of time together recently, getting some of our stuff up. One, we need to decide where communication falls. And then two, what is kind of our plan moving forward on, do we want to RFP out for some options? I think they sat through one today, which would be a huge expense. But we've got to have something moving forward, and right now we do not have a fail-safe. Did I about sum that up best I could?
Our radio system that we're currently using now is 35 years old. And I think Al spent about 3 days last week working with Mike, and I don't know, I think Alexis said earlier, since she's been with us, we spent about $20,000 on patching old stuff.
That's correct.
But now communications as a whole, I've been privy to some conversation where you got this department looking at it, or this department. If we don't all go to it as a whole, I don't think we're doing any good. I think we'll be going backwards. And that's our road department, the sheriff's office, fire and rescue. I mean, all of our departments are on that.
And
Ambulance, EMS.
if Mike Monroe was to retire, we're spent. Because he don't have a replacement.
He's a one-man show.
In today's world, you got to stay up with technology too. I know that from being an educator. Lord, I stay behind. I have to get the young people to help me on computers all the time, but I know we need to We don't do SPOS again until probably 2030. Is that correct?
We'll start on it, we'll start having the discussions in 28.
Okay. I mean, some of this stuff, we need to be jot lists, right, and all of this little
Have we,
stuff down, you know, just have a list. So when we come to that SPOS, we're not sitting here thinking all this stuff off the top of our head the next few years. We need to already have it on a list, and when it comes to the public, we got it, because you can't forget stuff.
have we looked at other provider? I know we had in the past, the Hasties or MCD, whatever it is now, and then compared to the Harris and all that stuff.
We had, just today, we met with Southern Harris, and they went through a scenario. Any which way we decide to go, the county decides to go, it's going to cost the county a bunch of money. Just roughly ballpark today, if we went to that system they had, you look at $4 or $5 million worth of equipment plus the monthly cost on every piece of equipment. So, I mean,
How many did you say you had to have just to cover the fire?
just for fire services, I'm looking at 40 trucks, so you got to have 40 base units in a truck, and then handhelds.
150,
You're
160?
looking at about $500,000 worth of equipment just for fire services. And then there's, you pay $30 a month per unit service on it. And you multiply that up, you're looking at nearly $4,000 a month just for service. And that's just fire.
Yeah, and that was like Harris, like you said. There's other alternatives. I met, when I first come on, one was brought to me, Mr. Lee Jones brought it up about, and that was a different company, and it's more of a lease where you don't own your equipment. So that's another direction we have to decide to do. We want to own our own equipment. Well, then what's our backup plan? Well, if we keep our current system and then move to a new system, we're going to still maintain our old system because we want a backup plan. So a lot of that, I mean, it's going to be, communication is expensive either way we go.
And even with that, a couple of years ago, the lease plan, we were looking at nearly $500,000 a year just for lease for that, but that was all emergency services.
Is these Harris, I know some counties are using a thing that's on their phone. Me and Reed have talked about that. Is that the same idea, or?
The Southern Link will work on Android phones, it will not work on iPhones. So that is an option, but you're still limited to being able to talk to a bunch of, I mean, you're limited to basically one channel. You just have a fire channel, you wouldn't be able to talk to EMS or sheriff's office or anything like that.
And the main thing is bring the attention, like, we don't know the expense right now because we don't have a direction of which way we want to go. But that's something that we actually need to start now. And myself and these guys, are going to start trying to bring some options to the table. We just want to make y'all aware of communications is an issue. Has been, but every year it's going to get worse.
And whose budget now does communication come out of?
Yeah.
That's the question. I think Al's been stepping up, paying that for us.
I have. Our emergency operations plan, however, has 911 as the primary provider for communications throughout the county. I think EMA is backup. So that's been taken into consideration as well.
I think the current system that we have, like in the schools, and they don't have a lot of reception in those, I've been told.
We have repeaters in some of the schools, but anybody in here drives on scene, you don't really have phones.
In the hallways. Now, they do say that testing Southern Links in school. The guy we met with today, Southern Links do work. just some direction from the board about how we're going to proceed would be greatly appreciated. Who's going to be in charge, we need to start looking at things.
And if it's gonna be 911, then when we start these conversations, I mean, well, I need to start having a conversation with the sheriff about all communications. If that's where we're gonna continue, we're gonna put it back where Mr. Al's saying it's gonna fall under the sheriff and 911. And a lot of the expenses now have been coming out of, even previous to Mr. Al, out of EMA, because Brent Darrell worked on it.
Is there more grant funding available if 911 was its own entity? I've been told that.
I've heard that, but I would really rely on your expertise, Ms. Alexis, if you know that that's an option.
Specifically for 911, if they were their own, I think it does open them to other options, but I don't know what specifically.
That's what was a conversation I'd had years back.
Well, in our, and when you relate to the county and budget, it is its own department, but it's currently up under the sheriff's office. So I'm gonna say that in our next one, I'm gonna put on my list to have more information regarding communications, 911, and a direction that y'all feel comfortable with me working in. That'd be all right. All right. Would we, y'all, we have time for one more. All right. Go to the next page, 18. Ambulance, this was not included in last year's budgetary, so I wanted to budget it this year so that we have an actualized and expense. You can see where we're at and what we've got. So ambulance is a new budgetary line item. And what this does not include is that they have asked, and I think last time they were here, was the purchase of 2 ambulances to rotate out. Now here's where that falls, is if we were to even say yes in this budget, it probably will not come out of this year's budget, because my conversation with them Thursday or Friday, whatever day the chairman and y'all were in my office, it was they're 21 months or more out, the 21 to 24 months out. So I didn't put that in here. I am going to plug those numbers. I'm going to get her actual, and hopefully that price will hold when we by order, but we'll have to pay for it. It's not expensed until we receive the ambulance. But there was a request for 2 to go ahead and get the rotation started. But I'll put those numbers in here.
The one we purchased a few months back, will it come out in 27?
Yeah, because we have not received it yet. To my knowledge, have you heard when we were getting it by chance? Okay. It will likely fall in the next year's budget.
So we need to budget it in there.
Yes, sir. So what I want to do is show you the breakout and how it's broken out. And this is a new page in our budgets. But now we can show the actual expenditures, because there was one, until we write the agreement, we are on the hook for major breakdown. Well, there was a $10,000 breakdown. The rear end went out in one of them. So we're actually showing it on here.
I have a question on this.
Sure.
That's my understanding that the county furnishes the ambulances. the hospital operates them. And they receive all revenues from it.
Correct.
Now, at one time, we were talking about the county taking them back over. And that way, we could offset some of the expense with revenues coming back to the county. Is that something that we're considering, or have considered?
That will be up to this board if they want to go in that, if y'all want to go in that direction.
Well, just from, it makes little sense to me to pay for everything while somebody else receives everything. It don't add up. And it's something we need to talk about and consider anyway.
And then the expense side of what we would have in expenses as far as the employee and personnel, the benefits, but also the billing. I assume they contracted out, we would have to do the same. So if that is something this board would want to look at,
We just need to look at the numbers.
I can try to roll and do a breakdown before.
In other words, is it cost us less to supply everything, and then somebody else do all the work and get all the money? Is that more financially beneficial to us as the county, or?
To hold the license and to operate.
It's just something that I like to look at.
I can break it down best I can with the amount of staff they currently have. At our currently way we pay, I think they pay a little differently. I can do that. I can run you a cost estimate both ways.
Yeah. So just like to look at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
County manager report.
I have none.
Chairman's comments, I have none.
Here I am. Am I on there for the public?
That's the next meeting.
Next meeting.
This is a budget workshop. Yes, ma'am.